Greek drama is where we are now, okay? As I said in the text, we'll be going back to poetry in a while, but right now we're going to focus on Greek drama. Greek drama is kind of the basis of all drama, but the Greeks were terrific on creating tragedy. Okay? And so we're going to be discussing probably the most significant of all of the Greek tragedies. The drama we're going to be talking about is Oedipus the King, or Oedipus Rex, however you want to pronounce it. Okay? And it is an amazing work. You may well have read it before. You may not have read it before. I don't know. But whichever it is, let me tell you this. Read it carefully. That doesn't mean read it like a science book, but just read it so that you know what's going on. Greek tragedy has a very set format that it follows, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. But let me give you a little bit of a heads up on Oedipus and what this is all about and what Greek drama is all about, okay? Oedipus is the king, and he is married to Jocasta, who is the queen, okay? Oedipus became king because his city was in a bad way, and he helped to make it better, but also because he solved the riddle of the Sphinx. And the riddle of the Sphinx is, what is it that walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs in the evening? I'll go back to this later on, if I remember to go back to it later on, okay? He solved this riddle. The Sphinx is a wild animal type character who was controlling the way in and out of the city of Thebes, excuse me, where this whole story takes place. And so the city was in a bad way because they couldn't do any trading, they couldn't do any exporting, they couldn't do any importing. Things were going bad. And the Sphinx stopped everybody that tried to get through, and when they could not answer his riddle correctly, he killed them. So this obviously put a huge dent in the possibility of trade. So when Oedipus came upon the Sphinx controlling the gateway to the city, he correctly answered the riddle, which destroyed the Sphinx and opened up the possibility of trade. So things got a little bit better in Thebes. Okay, that's what's going on. That's kind of background. Now, as you read this play, you will have a chorus. Okay, don't think of the chorus as somebody just singing background music. That's not what it is. The chorus is very much like the first-person narrator in A Rose for Emily. If you remember, that first-person narrator gave us a lot of background information, told us what people were thinking, even sometimes told us what was going on inside people. The chorus does a lot of that. The chorus does a lot of telling us what's going on in general and inside some individual people. So this is a story that is certainly a tragedy. Now, what does a tragedy mean for the Greeks, okay? For something to be a tragedy, it was more than just a sad ending, okay? It was lots more than just a sad ending. You know, if any of us in our situation today had something really, really bad happen to us, it might be considered tragic in today's world. The Greek world was different. Tragedy could only happen to people of lofty stature. They had to be somebody important. They had to be a king, a nobleman, a prince, a high priest, somebody really important in their social world. Okay? That's number one. A tragedy can only happen to a lofty character. If it happens to Joe Average Guy, it's not considered a tragedy because it doesn't affect all of society. Tragedy generally affects all of society in Greek ways. Now, a second thing with tragedy is that tragedy meant the downfall of a significant character. Okay? Downfall doesn't necessarily mean death. Frequently it means death. Frequently it means that this important character dies, but not always. And in fact, in Oedipus, Oedipus does not die. Okay? But a third thing, and a really important part of what tragedy is all about, is the fact that this downfall of this significant character happens due to some kind of flaw in that character. There is something within him. In a sense, he brings about his own tragic downfall through his own, what's termed a tragic flaw. Okay, something within him, something in the way that he acts, something in the way that he thinks, whatever, that brings about his downfall. Much of the time, not all of the time, but much of the time in Greek tragedy, that downfall is caused by human pride. Okay? And you can understand that. You know, we have an old saying here, pride cometh before the fall. We've all heard that. Well, pride is involved in many, many human downfalls, and it's frequently involved in human tragedy, in Greek tragedy, okay? So put that in kind of the back of your head as you read this play. Now, as you read, if you can find this play on video, read it along with watching it. Okay, but let me give you a little more background. The Greek theater was really a big amphitheater, and this is obviously centuries before the discovery of electricity. So there were no sound systems, okay? Yeah, the theaters were built acoustically pretty well, but even so, you know, hearing was not necessarily a really easy thing. So the characters wore big masks that indicated their feelings, their emotions. If you had a really happy character, they might have a mask with a big face on. And later on, you might see this same character with a different mask on. Basically the same look on the character, but a different, you know, kind of expression on the face that would make them different. So this is how the people in the audience could kind of tell what was going on, especially those who couldn't really hear that well. They could follow what they were seeing through the kinds of masks. So Greek tragedy it's tragedy. So it's going to be heavy. You're not going to walk away from this saying, "Oh wow, that was fun." It's not fun. It's heavy, but it's great, and it's incredibly entertaining, and it's incredibly thought-provoking. Don't think of these people as stupid because they weren't. They just didn't think about all of the possibilities. So it's really a pretty cool play, and you'll see all of that. Okay, so enjoy that. Now, I wrote up dramatic structure in the lesson, so please read that carefully, and then I'll tell you in the assignment exactly what you're supposed to do with all of this. Okay, but I'm going to tell you, you can either really just write from the heart and give it a real human reaction to what's going on here in this play, or you can break down the Greek tragic structure Greek drama tragic structure as I explain it in the notes. Or you can do both, you know, what you're comfortable with, okay? Then we're getting together on April 27th, and it seems like 6:30 is the best time. Some people are in class until 6 or 6:15 or even later than that, and those that are in class later, come when you can, okay? Please come. There's a couple of people that have to leave by a certain time, and so rather than changing to 7, I thought, okay, let's go with 6:30 so that for those couple of people that have to leave by a certain time due to really important previous engagements, they'll be able to do that too. And I spell all this out on the lesson, and I'll put it in again on the lesson next week, but get your hands on the movie Batman the Dark Knight, Okay, get your hands on that. I spelled that out on the lesson. That's not due until the 27th, but that will be due on the 27th. Okay, so have a good week. If it's before Easter when you see this, then have a great Easter.